February 13th, the Big Meech home benefit concert. It's gonna be iconic. Too many names to list. Biggest boss Ricky Rozay just got word. Meech concert not happening tonight, but 305 is going down at the office. Meet us there. Bam. Yeah, that might be why when I stood next to Meech, your knees buckle. Your knees buckle. Put your back against the wall. Poke.
Big Meech is out here calling out Rick Ross for leaving him broke after promising him the world. And let's be real, Meech ain't just upset, he's fuming. See, when Meech linked up with Rozay, it wasn't just about the music. Rick Ross knew exactly what he was doing. Rozay came in talking big, promising Meech a new show, a bigger budget, and even a whole concert to welcome him home. Sounded real good at the time, but now, Rozay is nowhere to be found. Rick Ross delivered nothing he promised, and now he's out here panicking. And honestly, he should be, because if there's one thing we know about Big Meech, it's that he never took betrayal lightly. And to make matters worse, 50 Cent has been on his neck non-stop ever since he teamed up with Rick Ross. The second Big Meech linked with Rick Ross for that Welcome Home concert, 50 went straight to Instagram and started cooking. See, when Meech first got out, Rozay had big plans for him. He was hyping up this massive Welcome Home concert, something that was supposed to be a game changer. Big Meech was promised a cut of the ticket sales, and let's be real, that was gonna be a serious bag. But guess what? That concert never happened. At the last minute, everything got shut down. And the reason? Federal agents supposedly came through with letters to cancel the event. That's when the rumors started flying. Because let's be honest, who else has that kind of pull? A lot of people are saying that 50 Cent was the one who pulled those strings behind the scenes. And if that's true, that means he did it just to get back at Rick Ross. Now 50 didn't confirm he had anything to do with it, but he definitely had jokes. When Boozy Badazz spoke on it during a Vlad TV interview, 50 hopped on Instagram to clown the whole situation. Hey, I'm just asking for a friend. Does this mean the show's not gonna go on? He wrote, pure disrespect.
2-3 hours, like, I'm at the Louis store. I'm like, what the f? I could have saved this $5,000 outfit.
And let's not forget, 50 predicted this would happen. He said it was getting shut down before it even happened, then turned around and denied involvement like he wasn't sitting back, laughing at the whole thing. But you know what's even worse? When everything fell apart and Big Meech was down bad, Rick Ross did nothing. He was just waiting in the shadows, hoping to use Meech as a pawn to get back at 50. Now recently, 50 Cent posted a picture of Tammy Cowens, who has been accused of being a federal informant. And if that wasn't enough, he dropped some alleged text messages between him and Tammy. In the messages, 50 straight up asks if Meech knew she was working with the feds while he was locked up. And what did she say? Yep, she even gave him more details. 50 captioned the post, Tammy Cowens, the truth and nothing but the truth coming soon. And let's not forget, just last week, 50 was already on Meech's case, throwing out snitching allegations. He straight up wrote, listen to the words Big Screech. You keep forgetting that you told Tammy Cowens to tell to get your time cut, sucker. And he made sure to tag all his brands. Classic 50. And it's not just 50 saying this. Even Blue Da Vinci and Cuffy have come forward, claiming that Big Meech is the reason they ended up behind bars. According to them, he used Tammy Cowens as a third-party informant. So this whole Big Screech thing isn't just some wild rumor 50 cooked up for clout. People in the industry have been whispering about this for a minute now. It's starting to look like there might be way more to this story than Meech wants to admit.
You know, put
he
all
said,
that
how
together.
did Meech have information on you and give it to Tammy so you could get caught up in it? How did that happen? So that means you got to go back to the movies.
Okay, so
Right, that's
Meech
that.
and Tammy was trying to get Suarez.
Oh, Meech and Tammy was trying to get Suarez.
Exactly. But when the government found out she was in contact with me, they switched the investigation toward me.
50 also went ahead and dragged Lil Meech into the crossfire too. See, before all this drama, 50 Cent was actually helping Lil Meech. We're talking serious investment. He paid for his acting classes, got him prepped for his role in the BMF series, and even handled his business offset. Remember when rumors came out that Lil Meech was having substance use issues? 50 personally sent him to rehab and covered the costs. That's how deep the connection was.
I'm watching movies. I'm like, man, acting must just be reading lines off of paper, like something like this. And when I get there, they're like, hey, don't look at the paper. Imagine your mom and dad in a casket right now and you in a funeral.
But then Big Meech switched sides, and the moment he started cozying up with Rick Ross, 50 cut them all off, and he's not being quiet about it. He straight up said he's discontinuing the BMF show, which is literally where Lil Meech gets his money from. So now, both Meech and his son are about to be broke. And if that wasn't enough, 50's been petty with the promotions too. Every time he posts anything related to BMF, he's been blurring and altering Lil Meech's face, like he's trying to erase him from existence. After the Welcome Home concert fell apart, Rick Ross wasn't done talking. Instead of just admitting defeat, Rozay started running his mouth again, this time claiming he was going to produce his own BMF show. And not just any show, but one with a bigger budget than 50 Cent's.
Yeah. So look, I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film.
That was supposed to be Big Meech's Hail Mary. If Ross had actually followed through, Meech could have gotten a major payday. But just like everything else Rozay promised, that show never happened. It was all talk. And here's the real kicker. 50 Cent owns the TV and film rights to the Black Mafia family story. That means Rozay couldn't even legally pull this off without having a say in it. So all that flexing, pointless. Meanwhile, Meech is still broke. 50 is still dragging him online. And to make it even worse, Rick Ross hasn't even tried to defend Big Meech. He was so loud when it came to using Meech's name to get at 50. But now that the walls are closing in, silence. And let's keep it real. This is exactly why 50 Cent has always clowned Rick Ross. For years, 50 has said that Ross only talks about him to stay relevant. Anytime Ross wants to trend, he has to mention 50's name. And at this point, it's looking real obvious. Rozay jumped on the BMF wave just to get back at 50.
For him, outside of mentioning me, when things get bad, you mention me, it gets covered further.
And most recently, out of nowhere, Rick Ross decided to go at 50 again. But this time, he brought up 50 Cent's late mother. In a clip he posted on his Instagram story, Ross was going off, bragging about how he was the only person who ever effed 50 Cent up. He even dragged Tony Yayo into it, saying he himself warned 50 that he was making a mistake.
I didn't know that they say I was the only person that 50 Cent up. I ain't know that. I'm gonna be honest. Tony Yayo told 50 Cent himself. Y'all could Google it.
Ross wasn't done though. He kept clowning Yayo and Uncle Murda, saying they looked old and needed facials. But of course, Tony Yayo responded. He said he's used to getting dragged into 50's beefs just because of their close friendship and loyalty. And let's be real, Yayo has always stood by 50. That's day one loyalty, and Ross just hates that.
Tony Yayo said, I wouldn't do that if I was, cause Tony Yayo know them niggas ain't got no money. Come on, man, look at Tony Yayo and Auntie them niggas need facials.
Now, Rozay wasn't finished. After going way below the belt, he switched gears and started trolling 50 Cent's business moves. This time, he went after the G-Unit Studios project in Louisiana, claiming that 50 couldn't finish it because he's broke and the banks won't give him loans anymore.
I see you struggling making that G-Unit film studio out there in Louisiana where that cheapest land at. You thought you was gonna be able to do it. You thought you was gonna be able to get them loans, and it ain't. What's wrong? What's taking so long?
Now you know 50 Cent wasn't gonna let Rick Ross slide without a response. He straight up clowned Rozay for being a special guest on the Millennium Tour. Bow Wow and Omarion are co-headlining, with Trey Songz, Boozy Badazz, Plies, and the Yin Yang Twins also in the mix. And Rozay, he's a special guest, right alongside Ray J, Bobby V, and Pleasure P. Now, for most people, this lineup is just a nostalgic throwback to the 2000s, but not for 50 Cent. 50 saw this as a clear sign that Rick Ross ain't the big boss he claims to be. Cause let's be real, a so-called rap mogul being billed below Bow Wow is crazy. At the end of the day, this whole situation started because Rick Ross just couldn't keep 50 Cent's name out of his mouth. But the one who really paid the price? Big Meech. Back in the real BMF days, Meech was ruthless. If you owed him something, he was coming to collect. And now, there are alleged whispers that Rick Ross is panicking behind the scenes. Allegedly, Rozay knows that at any moment, Big Meech and the real BMF members could come knocking. Whether it's directly or indirectly, somebody's gonna want answers. And if that happens, well, let's just say, Rozay might have messed with the wrong one.
And take the bad along with the good and show his crew know how to be men, then this what you get. Everybody shining like new money. There ain't no other crew like this in the world, and there never will be another. Not black.
So after all that, the big question remains. What's next? Is Rick Ross really panicking now that Big Meech might come collecting? Did he bite off more than he can chew by playing both sides? And do y'all think 50 Cent will ever let this go? Or is he just getting started? I need to hear your thoughts on this mess, so drop your takes in the comments down below. And while you're at it, make sure to smash that like button, hit that subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next update on this saga. And don't forget to check out the next video on your screen, because trust me, this is far from over.